Welcome in, everyone. This is another episode of Catfish on Ice with your hosts, Chad Minton and Rich Howe. It's NHL trade deadline day. The NHL trade deadline has come and gone. And one thing we can say, Rich, is at least the Preds got tougher. They got tougher. We're not going to take nothing from nobody.
All three of our defensive lines will beat up your three defensive lines.
Yeah, we're just tough. We're going to be the toughest kids on the block. You're not going to mess with us. All right. So we're going to react to the NHL trade deadline. What did the Preds do and what did they not do, for instance? But definitely they made some moves, some very minor moves. Definitely not any big splashes by any means. But we are going to talk about some of these additions, including a player that is already on the bench tonight for the Preds. He's making his debut really quick. You don't see that very often.
Hey, man, he should be ready to go.
Jeremy Lauzon from the Seattle Kraken, defenseman. They added some depth defensemen. We got to throw some love to our buddy Kyle Perkins, who called this like 3 months ago, if you remember.
He did, didn't he?
Did he?
I do now that you said that.
Did Kyle Perkins not say that the Preds would add some big body defenseman that takes up space at the trade deadline?
Yep, he sure did. That's absolutely
Kyle
correct.
Perkins, he will be back with us very soon. He's got some stuff going on. Life happens, but he will be back with us soon. We miss him, but he called it. Kyle Perkins, he called it. So we're going to talk about the trade deadline, what the Preds did, also all the other NHL trade deadline news that happened. There are a lot of teams out there who got better today.
Oh, yeah.
Can't say the Preds did the same thing, though.
No, not really. Not how these other teams got better, that's for sure.
And we're also watching, conveniently enough, we're watching the Preds take on the Anaheim Ducks. They have just started this game, and
guess what happened?
What happened?
Mark Barviewski, first game back after being injured, in the penalty box for slashing.
No way.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. All right.
I know.
Actually, I do. I actually really
I totally
very much believe it. I very much believe it, actually. All right, so we're watching this game. The Preds did just kill off the first Anaheim penalty, though, that you just alluded to. So
they did.
There's that.
I'm still watching the penalty kill. So
well, it's okay. I can go ahead and spare you the suspense, Rich. They killed the penalty off.
Killed it off. Awesome.
But also, if you're listening to the full episode right now on all major podcast platforms, we were thrilled to have Boyd Farish of Penalty Box Radio join us later this episode for all the NHL trade deadline reaction. He brings a wealth of knowledge to the game, and we want you to hear that interview towards the end, or you can go watch the full interview on our YouTube channel. And we've got a Tanner Geno fight right on schedule.
I just saw him bump into somebody.
Oh, my gosh.
He's about ready to take this guy's soul.
That man has a family.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
That might be fight of the year.
I'm going to tell you where Tanner got the helmet off. Dang. Yeah. Leave that dude alone, man.
Tanner took the liberty of knocking this guy out, and this guy said, I'm going to drop the gloves.
Yep.
I shouldn't call him.
Did you notice?
I shouldn't call him this guy. I should actually look up the guy's name, actually.
Yeah.
I didn't recognize him.
Yeah, I'm not sure who it is. Carrick, whoever that is.
All right, yeah. Well,
Geno grabbed his jersey and then punched him while he had his jersey. That was awesome.
All right. Yeah, so Sam Carrick, the 30-year-old the 30-year-old centerman for the Ducks. I don't think he caught the memo that you don't drop the gloves against Tanner Geno.
No, you don't want to do that. That's bad form, that's for sure.
So this game is opened up just like you'd expect for a Preds game, to be quite honest.
Well, when I first turned it on, Anaheim had 5 shots to the Predators 0. So that wasn't really a good thing. to start off that way, but I think they're kind of evening it up now. So
this is a weird game tonight, though. This is a really weird game because you got a Ducks team that they've pretty much signaled to the rest of the league that they're packing it in on this season. They were hanging around the playoff race for a little bit, but they definitely made some significant sell-offs during this trade deadline, including Ricard Raquel, who went to the Pittsburgh Penguins, which I hate to see. I don't need to see the Pittsburgh Penguins get any better.
You don't want anybody to go there.
But the Anaheim Ducks, they definitely were sellers at this trade deadline. And so when you're playing a team like this on a night like tonight, it's an odd matchup because I'm sure those players for Anaheim are fired up.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it looked like from the beginning of the game, but I think things are starting to settle down a little bit. You can tell that the team is definitely, did what they did at the trade deadline. It's also indicative there is nobody at this game. Like there are no fans at this game.
All right.
You can just tell that they've packed it in this year already. So.
Well, I can just say these games can be weird though when you're a team like the Predators playing against a team like this, because this team has nothing to lose. The Anaheim Ducks, like they've seen it from their front office today. They've seen you got to put yourself in the skates of an Anaheim Ducks player today or tonight right now, and they're probably thinking, "Wow, the front office has no faith in us. They're just going to ship off our best players." They must not have any. So those players that are actually still around and playing tonight, you better believe they're fired up and they're playing hard.
Oh, guarantee that. If you think Anaheim's got it bad, imagine how Seattle feels. They probably don't have anybody to play for them.
No, they're fielding an AHL team tonight. They're definitely I think the Milwaukee Admirals would have a chance to beat the Seattle Kraken tonight.
They're going to have to go grab a hot dog vendor and maybe like the Zamboni driver.
Yeah, Zamboni driver is going to be their top line center tonight.
There you go.
All right. So we're So we're going to react to what happened at the NHL trade deadline, including what the Preds did, of course, what they didn't do. We're going to give some grades out to some of these trades, how we feel about each move that the Preds made. We'll look around the NHL and see some of the major trades. We have to do our clutch performers of the week because tonight is Monday. We always go back and name our top 3 clutch performers of the week for the Predators. We got 3 games to look back on this past week. We're looking back at the Pittsburgh game, which was a good one. The Philadelphia game was a heartbreaker.
Not a good
heartbreaker.
One. Definitely. And
then, So we had some good games this week. The Preds played well. They did some good things, and we got some clutch performers to pick from out of that.
Yeah, definitely. And they hurt Toronto's feelings, that's for sure.
And that's always fun when you hurt Toronto's feelings.
That was pretty fun, yeah.
That was a big game there. That was one of those games where it's like, all right, let's see if they can bounce back against Philadelphia.
Absolutely.
And really play well against a team that has a lot of talent. We all know that Toronto has plenty of talent.
Yep. Number 1 power play in the NHL, which was evident. It's crazy. It's definitely crazy. Those guys are good, but not good enough that night.
Nope. And then we will do our Catfish cold hard picks for this week. I had a rough week last week, Rich.
You did, man.
I went 0-3.
You
went
did.
0 for 3 on my picks.
Absolutely.
You went 2-1.
2-1. Yep.
All right.
Yep,
so we got a brand new set of picks this week.
Yes.
I will have my 3 picks. Rich will have his 3, and we'll see if I can get off the schneid and actually make a correct pick this week, Rich.
I think you did. I think you can.
Oh, you're so kind.
I looked at you sent me who you're going to pick, and I think you got some good ones. So
I think you're just being a really good friend and co-host.
I think you're good. I think you're good.
All right, so we're watching this game with you. Please comment on the YouTube stream right now, or if you're watching on Twitter, tweet the show at Catfish Ice. Be sure to hit the subscribe button down below.
Yes.
We appreciate all subscribers. Sure. That helps a ton. as we watch UC Saros once again get completely under duress, and the Ducks score the first goal of the game.
Are you serious right now?
Yes, I'm serious.
Man, why?
It's called. All right, let's break down this replay right now. I'm actually watching it right now. There's no battle for the puck, man. It's just like I saw a lot of spectators on the ice. I saw the Preds watching the puck and not actually defending. Yeah.
Dirty puck watchers. Let's see.
I saw Dante Fabro down there puck watching. Dare I say I even saw Roman Yossi puck watching a little bit.
Yeah, that's ugly.
That was just not a good goal at all to give up.
Forsberg, too.
Yeah, what are we doing here, guys? What are we doing? All right, so Ducks are up 1-0. They've got 8 shots on goal already. Welcome in, Missy. Thank you so much, Missy, for joining us. She says, hey, y'all. Thank you for joining us. Missy from Canada. We appreciate you joining us. All right, so the Preds are once again finding themselves down against a team that they should be able to easily beat.
Yeah.
That's why this team is so frustrating.
Missy is glad that the Preds beat the Leafs. We were too. I was really nervous about that game.
Yeah, that was one of those games. That's why this team is so hard to figure out, because they lose to teams like the Flyers, the Seattle Kraken. They've lost the Buffalo Sabres this season. The Canadians.
Seattle twice.
But then they turn around and beat Toronto. They can turn around and beat other really good teams. They beat the Florida Panthers. They've beaten all these good teams this season, and yet they do things like this. Now, it's very early in the game. I think they're a team that's very good at coming back. Yep. They've proven all season they can make comebacks.
Yep.
So no reason to worry too much, but they've had a really sloppy start to this game.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Saros was probably was blocked a little bit and couldn't really get a good view of the puck. So I don't know. I don't want to blame him for it, just because there was like 3 Predators right in front of the net and they didn't do anything. So
this is episode 115 of Catfish on Ice, as we give you live game reaction of the Preds versus the Ducks. This post-trade deadline game night. It's got to be weird for the players because they don't have any control over what the front office decides to do. Nope. So it's got to be weird for them as well. Even though the Preds didn't trade anybody big on their main roster. They didn't trade anybody on their main roster. They kept everyone intact. So it can't be – it's probably not weird in that sense. But I'm sure that the players can't help but wonder, like, okay, what is the vision of this team? What happened today? You would like to think that a lot of the veterans probably don't think about it that much because they know it's part of the business.
Right.
But yeah, so that's kind of was David Poyle's whole argument today with his trade deadline approach, was he did not want to mess with the core of this roster. And that's what he was quoted as saying. I'll actually read the quote right now. This was from, I got this quote from Emily Proud of WKRN News 2 locally. Quote unquote, Poyle said, "We are very happy with our team. We are very happy with our competitiveness. I love our identity with our team. Our group wasn't looking to be too disruptive to this team." Rich, what do you think about when you hear that quote?
Well, to be fair, he has been saying that for a little bit, and he did kind of warn everybody that we probably weren't going to be sellers or buyers. It's just kind of weird because we're not 100% sold on how well they would do in the playoffs if they're fortunate enough to make it into the playoffs, which I think they will. So, we wanted to maybe see a little more movement than what we saw. Everybody's mad because they didn't sign Forsberg in time. There's still plenty of time to get that done, but yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. They say identity a lot, and that's what they're going with, and that's what they've gone with the past few years. They haven't made any changes, and they've had not great luck. So hopefully this year will be different.
That's the overall prevailing theme of this trade deadline for the Predators is they didn't want to mess with what's already working. Mm-hmm. They didn't trade away any current starters. Their roster is intact. You heard rumblings that maybe Luke Cunnin was the type of player that you could move. You even heard some people, doomsdayers, thinking that Filip Forsberg was going to be traded, but Elliot Friedman kind of squashed that early in the day with his tweet saying that the Preds aren't going to trade Forsberg, but that also a deal wasn't going to get done today. And that's exactly what happened. And so there's still that chance that Forsberg could be re-signed before he officially hits free agency this offseason. Yep. But what really makes you wonder and what makes you think now all of the leverage and all of the power is in Filip Forsberg's hands in his camp when it comes to negotiating power. He has to really want to stay here at this point for him to choose Nashville over another destination.
I agree 100%. After hearing the things that Poyle said, and I know nobody said Filip Forsberg hasn't really said anything one way or the other, but it makes you feel like definitely something is going to happen and it's going to wind up being in the Predators' favor and he'll stay and whatnot. So I did kind of get a little bit better feeling about it. I never did. Well, I can't say that. I didn't think they would trade him away today because I think that would just destroy everybody else on the team. That would be bad for Matt Duchene, obviously. That would be bad for just the whole team. The whole chemistry they have would be gone and they'd be done. Their season would be over. It would be over if they would have done that today. Yeah. So I do get a better feeling about it.
And to kind of allude to what you're saying as well, Rich, and I totally agree with you. Also, I think that if Poyle behind closed doors knows way more obviously than what we know and what almost everyone knows out there, I can promise you that if he thought that there was no way that Filip Forsberg wanted to sign here, then he would have traded him.
Oh, I think so.
I actually think he would have. If he was going to be a true general manager that was thinking about the long-term interest of this franchise, which is what a lot of people are worried about right now, and rightfully so, if he truly felt that way, he would have traded him today. Yeah. I think in his heart of hearts, Poyle knows a lot that we don't know, obviously, and he feels like that there just wasn't enough time before the deadline to get a deal worked out. It's a very complicated negotiation, but eventually they're going to get it figured out.
Yeah, I think they will. I mean, it seems like they will. Filip Forsberg had said he wants to play his contract out and he's going to get his wish. I think he's done so many good things here. He spent his whole career here. I just really feel that they'll get it done, which is going to be awesome.
Rich, we almost had a bang just now. We almost had a bang.
I saw it.
John Gibson made a really, really good save. It was a 2-on-1 action. You had Philip Tomasino break into the zone. He found Alex Carrier breaking in, and unfortunately, John Gibson made a really good save. We've got a new joiner here for the podcast. We got a mod joining us on YouTube. He says, "Who we got winning this, fellas?" That's a good question. All right, I'll start, Rich. Well, let's go ahead and break it all out now with our predictions. I know it's 1-0 Ducks right now, but I'm going to go ahead and put my money where my mouth is. I got the Preds winning this game 3-2 in overtime.
Oh, in overtime.
I think things are going to settle down. I don't see the Ducks scoring too many more goals. They gave up one. It was a sloppy goal they gave up. I'm going to go ahead and put it all out there, put my chips on the table. Since Ahmad was so kind enough to join our podcast tonight and ask that question, who we got winning this, I'm going to say Preds win 3-2 in overtime.
All right, I'm going to go 4-2 in regulation, Predators.
Oh, okay. All right.
I think they'll get it figured out here.
I say 3-2 because we got two really good goaltenders tonight. John Gibson he can play like a Vezina type goaltender at times.
Yes, he can. That's true.
So
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point.
I don't see the Preds piling up the goals tonight either, but I don't think the Ducks are just going to do it either. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm right on that. But obviously, I don't think the Ducks are going to.
Yep.
They got an early one here. They got an early one. Good for them. But I'm going to go ahead and call it 3-2. Ducks or the Preds beat the Ducks in overtime. Yep. Rich has got 4-2 Preds in regulation. All right.
I think so. Missy said 3-1 Preds. That's her thought.
All right. We're all staying optimistic here. Even though the Preds are down 1-0, we're staying optimistic. It's a long game.
Good.
Good question, Ahmad. Thanks for joining.
Yep, for sure.
All right, going back to Forsberg, though, let's get back into that. So, yeah, I think that they're going to eventually figure it out. I think Forsberg wants to stay here, and it's just a very tough negotiation. It's tricky. It's tough. It's complicated. I'm sure there's something to do with the term of the contract that Poyle is probably having a hard time with. You know, he's probably having a hard time handing out another 8-year contract.
I think in this case it's warranted, though. So, in the immortal words of Run DMC, it's tricky.
It's tricky, yes. That's got to be the woo. The Preds just about fell down 2-0 there. Saros had to really flash his pad to keep that. You'll see it here in a second, Rich. All right.
Mike,
if our predictions are going to come true, then the Preds got to really tighten up defensively right now.
They sure do. They sure do. Mike Twitter doesn't have access to the game, he says, so nobody's going to be doing the bang yet.
We're going to have to do the bangs for him.
Yep.
We gotta carry the mantle for him tonight.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, Saros is just under fire.
He sure is. Wow.
What are we doing, guys? What are we doing? Why are we messing around tonight against no offense to the Anaheim Ducks, but why are we messing around with this team tonight?
Wow.
There you go. Bang!
Oh.
And it's the captain. It's the captain, Roman Josi. This man cannot be contained.
It's insane that he's not.
What is this dude doing?
Oh, they got a 4-on-2. Let's see. I'm just not.
Tomasino. Gosh, he's directing traffic.
He has got.
Did you see that pass from Filip Tomasino?
I did. I'm telling you. His shot, he's either got look, here you go. Missy did the bang. Thank you,
Missy, for filling in with the bang. There you go, Missy. All right. Roman Josi scores his 18th goal of the season. Not to be overlooked was Filip Tomasino's second straight shift of having a nice zone entry to create a scoring chance.
Right on the tape.
Tomasino nearly set up Alexander Carrier for the first goal of the game, and John Gibson made a really good save. He does it again, and he finds the captain, Roman Josi, who snaps it past John Gibson, and we got ourselves a 1-1 game.
Awesome. We'll take it. That's awesome.
We'll always take it. All right, as we continue to watch Preds versus Ducks on episode 115, let's get into our opening face-off of tonight, which is, of course, what did the Preds do today for the NHL trade deadline? Let's give some grades out. We'll throw some grades out there just because grades are always fun. And kind of talk about, do we think the team got better? Do we think they could have done more? And, of course, the main trade that the Preds made that everyone's talking about is dealing a second-round pick in this year's draft, 2022, for defenseman Jeremy Lauzon from the Seattle Kraken. The Seattle Kraken are dishing out players left and right. Everything must go. The Seattle Kraken are one of those teams they're like the business that's going out of business. The local
business sale.
The local retail store that says everything must go, and they have like 20 signs in the windows saying everything must go.
Yeah,
that's the Seattle Kraken.
You're not going to recognize them next year.
But so
for sure.
They signed Jeremy Lauzon, who is a former draft pick of the Boston Bruins and was kind of a little bit of a failed draft pick for them. But he fits the identity of this team. He's a bruiser. All you see in his prospect reports is he'll stick up for his teammates. He won't back down. He'll fight. He'll do all these things. But really, his ceiling is most likely a third pairing defenseman, and you deal a second round pick for that. I'm sorry. It's not about the player. For me, it's more about what you gave up to get that player when you already have a player like Jeremy Davies in the system.
Mm-hmm. I've been thinking about it all day. The only thing I can come up with is whoever scouted him for Poyle, he must have saw something that they liked. I will say, so the year before he got picked up by Seattle in the expansion draft, he played almost the full season with Boston. Boston has really good defensive pairings, so I can see where he would get overlooked a little bit in their system. They're all about Charlie McAvoy, guys like that. And then, he got shipped to Seattle in the expansion draft. Seattle's just been not great all season, so you can't really expect much out of that. So I'm just guessing that he showed somebody something and they liked him.
That's a good point.
I mean, a lot of people, I know everybody's upset about the second round pick, and, that might be a little bit of an overpay, but there's just got to be some kind of plan in place that we don't know about. We have no insider information. So, I think there's something else.
That's good, man. And it does address a need that we brought up, which was defensive depth. I mean, I brought that up. I thought was Jeremy Lauzon a player that I had as that player? No, but I would have liked to have had a Calvin DeHaan from the Chicago Blackhawks or a Justin Braun who ended up going to the New York Rangers for a third round pick.
Yep.
I would have preferred a Justin Braun, who would most likely be a rental. I get it. Whereas Lauzon might not be a rental. He's a restricted free agent. So you've got some leverage there. The front office does. And David Poyle came out and said that their plans are to re-sign Lauzon to where he's not a rental. So thinking long-term wise, this was not just a rental move for the Preds. David Poyle's thinking the long game. He's thinking down the road.
Yep. And we know that they signed Mark Barviewski for next season as well. He took a little bit of a pay cut. Matt Benning's
so now Matt Benning's looking like the odd man out.
He's a free agent, at the end of the season. And I will say I like Benning a lot. He plays really well with Mark Barviewski, but I have to think that Lauzon's a little bit of an upgrade. I don't know. It just seems like he might be just a little bit of an upgrade.
He might be. And he's younger, right? He's a little bit younger than Matt Benning, right?
Yeah, he's only like 25 maybe. I don't remember exactly.
No, Lauzon's 25, but I think I don't know how escaped me what Matt Benning is. He's Matt Benning's 27, so Lauzon's a little younger than Matt Benning as well. You're hoping to get a player in Lauzon who can find a home in Nashville, a long-term home.
Yep. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
All right.
And then also you look at, Mark Barviewski, he's been hurt some this season, so you got to kind of look at that as well. When Barviewski's out and then Benning is out right now, who did they call up? Tennyson and Davies. So now they have someone who's got some more NHL experience. He's a big boy. He blocks some shots. So
we have ourselves a major scrum behind the net here.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, normally you see it in front of the net, but here it's like happening behind the net here, behind the goal.
Let's see, what did they do?
Of course, Luke Cunning's in the middle of it.
Yeah. Oh, What are they mad about? Jeez.
I don't know, but Luke Cunning's the center of it.
He sure is.
The Ducks players are all about it.
What'd he do?
See. That's what we're trying to figure out here. Let's see. Luke Cunning was crashing the net. He kind of went in on John Gibson. Granlund got completely turned away. He had an open net, and Gibson made the save. Let's see. Oh,
Okay,
Cunning took a – Cunning just took a – oh, that's dumb. Come on now.
Really?
Cunning just took a normal hit. He took a normal shoulder. Nothing dirty.
Okay.
Yeah, Ducks players are all in their feels.
They're just mad.
Yeah, they're all emotional.
He hit.
I didn't see Luke Cunning do anything that really deserved that kind of a response from the Ducks. But okay.
Yeah. They're just mad.
All right. Well, the Preds got a fire under their butts now. They've woken up. They're awake now. Mm-hmm. They might have hit that snooze button a little too quick, but they're awake. And it's a tie game, 1-1. We're in the last minute of the first period.
Yep.
As we continue to talk about what the Preds did at the NHL trade deadline today. And so, yeah, the Jeremy Lauzon pick is the big one that we're all going to talk about today. That's the major move they made. And to shore up that defensive depth, you got to think that means, if anything, we're not going to see much more of Ben Harpur.
I doubt it. So I think that might be a good thing, folks.
Yeah.
I can't imagine we would.
Everyone can just calm down a little bit, because if that means that Ben Harpur's not in the lineup anymore, then it's all okay.
Yeah.
Jeremy Lauzon's already got 6 minutes of ice time in this game tonight.
Mm-hmm.
He's already registered 1 hit and 1 block in this game.
Hey, man. I hope it works out.
He's playing as number 72, everybody, by the way. That's his number. So remember that.
Yep.
He is out there, and he's already played 6 minutes of ice time in this first period.
Yep. Matthias Ekholm is out.
With a block and a hit.
They said Matthias Ekholm has an illness, non-COVID related. So
we'll continue to keep an eye on that as far as this game is concerned, as we're at the first intermission, and it's tied 1-1. The Preds really, really woke up towards the end of that period and put it on. They really put it on John Gibson and the Ducks there. And so good response from the Preds after kind of sleepwalking through the first 5 minutes of the game.
Absolutely.
All right, let's talk about another move that the Preds made today. It was a lot more of a minor move, but one that if you've been following this team for a long time and you really know about the minor league team and the Milwaukee Admirals, then it's kind of hard to see this player get traded away. But Frederick Allard gets traded to the Los Angeles Kings system in exchange for a prospect of our own. We get forward Braden Burke, who has had some good seasons in the AHL. He's had some really good seasons, and he's also played in the WAHL as well. So the Preds kind of fulfill a what they think was probably a bigger need in their prospect pool by trading away Allard, which we all know that there's a pretty big log jam of defensemen in Milwaukee right now. So they probably saw it as we could probably stand to trade away a player like Frederick Allard and get us another forward, another player who can score, another player who has some offensive value. And so they get this guy, Braden Burke, who is 25 years old. He has 4 seasons in the AHL already, 21 goals, 52 points in 2019-20 season. He has 17 points in this current season in 31 games. Not bad, not shabby at all. But Braden Burke has yet to crack the NHL yet. He has not been in the NHL despite being 25 years old. So he's pretty much been a career minor league player up to this point.
And that's fine. Our friend CJ earlier said he was upset because they got rid of Allard. That was like his favorite player for Milwaukee. So Yeah, unfortunately.
CJ's having a rough day.
He is a very rough day.
And we're going to actually have CJ on the podcast probably next week. We're going to try to find a time for him because CJ knows a lot about the Milwaukee Admirals.
Mm-hmm.
CJ was on the podcast like in episode 2 or 3.
Yeah, really early.
If you really want to go all the way back in the archives, CJ joined us in a very early episode. CJ has been a buddy of ours for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
He's in the podcast Fantasy Hockey League, and he knows his Milwaukee Admirals. He knows all about that team. He follows that team more than he actually probably follows the Predators team. Like that is his favorite team, is the Milwaukee Admirals.
Yep.
And so we're going to have him on next week, hopefully, and we can kind of talk about how he feels about some of these decisions that are going on for the Admirals right now. He's not going to like it. He gave the Preds an F. He gave the Preds an F in his
absolutely did.
a flat F.
Hey man, I get it. I get it.
CJ pops in on the comments every now and then on the stream. Maybe he'll pop in later. But all right, let's go ahead and give our own grades.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and just pull the gloves off right now. And I'll go ahead and I'm not going to go as far as CJ went.
No,
I'm not. I'm going to give the Preds a very, very mediocre C, a flat C. And I would give them a C, and I would honestly even be inclined to maybe even go a B if they had Filip Forsberg re-signed.
Yeah,
but I give them a C. Huge. The reason why I give them a C and I don't give them a D or an F like CJ did is with all due respect to CJ, I love him. I respect his opinion. I disagree that it's not that bad. And the reason why I disagree with a lot of Predators fans right now on this, actually, I'm probably in the minority here. I don't think it's as catastrophic as a lot of people are making it out to be, because I do agree with a lot with what Poyle said. Why I don't want to disrupt the team's chemistry. The team has already gone this far. They've overperformed. They've proven that they can beat really good teams. They're within a sneezing distance of being in second place in the division right now. And you've got to just, why would you shake up that roster? Now, I was of the opinion that they could have absolutely entertained going after a Max Domi, or we talked about Jake DeBrusk out there for a little bit. Phil Kessel was kind of, we were thinking about secondary scoring options, right? Thinking about depth scoring, but is it really the end of the world? Do we think the Preds could pull off a first round upset? Do we think they could hit some magical run in the playoffs, kind of like they did in 2017? It's very possible. So I just don't think that Poyle was willing to go too crazy at this deadline. I'm sure he heard some offers. I'm sure he shopped around. I'm sure he did behind closed doors. I'm sure he shopped around, and he probably just did not like the asking price that a lot of these teams had for some of these players.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. We know 100% that he did his due diligence and shopped around and looked around and see what was out there. But to be fair, he told us, a little bit that they probably weren't going to be doing much of anything. And if you look at it in the grand scheme of things, they did exactly what he said. They didn't do much. I know everybody's mad about that second round pick. That's a huge sticking point for everybody, but it's not the end of the world, I don't think. I would prefer that. How do I word this? I think it's good that he did get someone like Lazan, because he wants to keep him instead of just getting a rental. Because what's going to be the point of disrupting the team to get a rental person in here, and then they get bounced in the first round, and then the dude leaves? You hurt the team by bringing in someone who might not be a good fit. I don't know. I just think it played out pretty well. I think if we would have got Forsberg signed before the trade deadline was over, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. Everybody would be nice and happy. So,
I mean, I still give him a C, because I would have liked to actually have had a Justin Braun in here, a veteran, or a Calvin DeHaan. If you're really trying to upgrade this team for the playoffs, I don't know how much a Jeremy Lauzon really makes this team better in the playoffs. That's just
Probably
me.
not.
I think me and you are kind of disagreeing there a little bit on that.
Yeah.
I think you're a little higher on Lauzon than I am, which is fair. But I also respect the fact that Poyle wanted to respect this current team and show the confidence in this current team. And I do think that these current players who are playing tonight for the Preds respect the hell out of Poyle for trusting in his team. And I can tell you that goes a long way.
It does.
And it kind of alludes to what you were just saying, Rich. You were talking about not disrupting the team. And that's exactly what Poyle talked about in his post after the trade deadline. He did his press conference.
Yep.
And like it or not, I'm sure the players really appreciate that Poyle did not shake up this team and that he showed the confidence in this current roster to not shake it up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that does go a long way. I'm sure he's going to give them the speech. This is what we got to work with. And if you guys want to go farther than the first round this time, everybody's got to step up. So that means
I give him a C because he did not get Filip Forsberg re-signed before the trade deadline. I got to give him a C for that. I got to knock down at marks on him for that. And then I also do think he could have done a little bit more on the defensive side of things. When I see Justin Braun going to the New York Rangers for a third-round pick, and when I see Calvin DeHaan was out there, who I think Calvin DeHaan would have been a really good addition to this team, I actually think he would have addressed been a major upgrade to this playoff team. Whereas Lauzon, I don't know how much better Lauzon is than what this team already had. But we'll see. We'll see. I could be wrong on that.
We'll see.
But that's why I go a very average C for David Poyle at the trade deadline. Nothing special, nothing great, but I don't think it's as bad as what people are saying either. So he's right there, mediocre in the middle for me. What's your grade? Give me your grade, Rich.
I think I'd probably do like a B-.
Okay.
I mean, the reason I wouldn't give him an F, obviously, is because he basically told us what he was going to do. And he did. He carried through with exactly what he wanted to do. He said, we're not going to be sellers, probably not going to be buyers. He did what he had to do. On the other hand, you do look at, there were some people out there that would have been awesome to get, like you said. But in the end, they saw something that they liked in this dude. Obviously, I don't know what it is. I think they like that he's, a rough dude, like you talked about in the beginning, can beat everybody up. So I think that's what they like.
The big pull away I do get from today's trade deadline when it comes to the Predators is they really did reload Milwaukee a little bit.
They did that as well.
They focused on Milwaukee big time. And so you got that to take away from it a little bit. I want to share. So I already shared one David Poyle quote, but I want to share another one from Brooks Bratton, where Poyle said, "This is in regards to Filip Forsberg," and we started seeing like this got me really, really like freaking out there towards the end before the trade deadline. We saw some rumblings that possibly they were testing the waters on trading Filip Forsberg, right? And this is what David Poyle said per Brooks Bratton. David Poyle said, quote, "We never, ever seriously got into trading Filip Forsberg. I have faith we will be able to come up with a deal Phil likes, and we will live happily ever after for many years," end quote. I'm sorry, but is this like some type of weird breakup story, like love story, Rich, that we're reading here? Like sure, this sounds like somebody almost broke up with the other person. And then that person's like, "Oh no, baby, I was never going to break up with you. We're going to be together forever."
It was just a misunderstanding.
"I would never break up with you. We love each other. We'll be together forever, happily ever after." I don't know. But I just found that quote very interesting.
What got me is when we watched the last game when he broke the record. After he was done, when he got the first star of the game, he was skating around and he was patting his chest right on the the Predator logo. And then you started listening, like if you go on Twitter, it's like watching cat videos on YouTube. You just keep watching them and going deeper and deeper. Some people were like, oh, he loves Nashville so much. That was him saying, I'm not going anywhere.
Conspiracy theories.
Yeah, right. And then another person was like, I think that was him saying farewell to Nashville because I love you guys, but I've enjoyed my time, but I'm going somewhere else. It's just it's too much. It's just too much.
The point is we don't really know.
Don't know a thing.
And it's okay to say, it's okay for you to come out sometimes and say, I don't know.
Yep.
And only Filip Forsberg truly knows what he's going to do. And we've said that for a while now on this show. Yep. And it's still really true now. And he has all the leverage now. Mm-hmm. He can actually, for Filip Forsberg's sake, he might even get paid more now than what he was going to get before because he has even more negotiating power.
Absolutely, he does. Yeah. So
he has all the negotiating power now at the negotiating table. David Poile has no leverage now. If David Poile truly feels like he has to keep Forsberg, which it's going to be indefensible if he does not re-sign Forsberg at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's going to have to probably overpay him even more now.
Oh, I think so. I think so. I agree 100%. And if you listen to Poile's press conference, he made it sound like the only thing that kind of was sticking was how much was the money. So I don't know. Maybe that's all it is. Maybe it's just somebody wants a huge amount and Poile doesn't want to give a big, massive amount. And they need to just meet in the middle and get it over with.
For sure. This is episode 115 of Catfish on Ice with Chad Minton and Rich Howe, your host, presented by DraftKings, part of the Hockey Podcast Network. We've got Boyd Farish of Penalty Box Radio joining us. We're going to talk more about all this stuff going on here. Until then, we are at the first intermission of the Preds versus the Ducks, and the Preds really responded towards the end of that period to tie this game at 1. Roman Josi continues his hot streak with a goal on a beautiful cross-ice pass from Philip Tomasino. It was just gorgeous on all accounts. Philip Tomasino is showing his ice vision to find Roman Josi for that goal. What a pass that was from Philip Tomasino. Awesome stuff there. So we are tied 1-1. We're about to do our clutch performers of the week. Before we get to that, let's look at the rest of the trades that happened today, Rich, around the NHL.
Oh, yeah.
Some big ones that happened. What else can we start with? Then Marc-Andre Fleury, the Flower, gets out of Chicago like we were talking about. But as happy as I am for him, Rich, I do not like that he is staying in the division.
No, and that could also be a first-round opponent for the Predators, depending on where they wound up.
I do not like the thought of going up against Marc-Andre Fleury in a first-round playoff series. Do not sign me up for that.
Yeah, and a probably more happy Marc-Andre Fleury.
Oh, yeah, great for him. It's been a great day for him to get out of Chicago.
Yep, he's probably very ecstatic, I'm sure. I think he's actually playing tonight.
What did they give up for that trade?
What
did Minnesota give up for that?
Gosh,
we can pull it up real quick.
Yeah, I watched all of it unfold, and so much happened.
Let's see. We got it right here. A conditional draft pick. A conditional second-round pick that will become a first-round selection if the Wild make the conference finals and Fleury wins 4 games in the first 2 rounds.
That's so weird. That's so many different conditions.
So basically, if the Wild really perform well in the playoffs and it's because of Marc-Andre Fleury, then that pick will become a first-round pick for the Chicago Blackhawks. So if you're
he said a second, so it's
it's a conditional second. It can become a first-round pick. So if you're the Chicago Blackhawks right now, you're cheering for the Minnesota Wild. You're like, go to the conference finals, turn that into a first-round pick.
Absolutely.
But what a great pickup for Minnesota. They've got a goaltender now that's more than capable of carrying them through the playoffs. We already know that the Minnesota Wild have plenty of scoring options. They've got a really good roster. They've fallen on hard times recently. They've kind of hit a really rough patch of their season. But let me tell you, the Preds beat them recently. But the Minnesota Wild, they made a big power move today by getting Marc-Andre Fleury.
They sure did.
And they didn't have to give up hardly anything to get him. Not
really. Yeah, it's good. I'm really I was thinking about it. I'm really glad that they were able to move him, because it was a train wreck for that guy, man. Like he really, well, he did have the choice. He wanted to keep playing hockey, which is totally understandable. And then, on paper, it looked like Chicago was going to be way better than they were, but it just turned into a train wreck, and now he's free of it. So it's awesome. Good for him.
So that's a big move. I would definitely call the Minnesota Wild one of the winners of trade deadline day, for me anyway. I think they come out a big winner out of the trade deadline. And then another winner I have for this trade deadline day is the Florida Panthers.
Oh, yeah.
They land Claude Giroux in the sweepstakes of the trade deadline. No pun intended, Rich, but the rich get richer.
Hey, man, those dudes are going all in. That's for sure.
They are. They've got the entire roster to win a cup this year, for sure.
Wow. So I was just checking the score real quick. The Wild beat the Golden Knights 3-0. 3-0. Yeah, back to Florida. Yeah, man, they're pumped and ready to go now. So they're if they have any issues.
Well, look at this. Well, not only did they get Claude Giroux, but they also got Sherratt. So they are. I mean, they made two really significant major additions to their team, both on offense and on defense.
Yeah, I would say they're probably the winners of the trade deadline, because
they got Ben Sherratt from the Montreal Canadiens. There were some Preds fans who were like thinking hopelessly that Ben Sherratt could be added to the Predators, like that would have been a power move that David Poile could have made. But yeah, I mean, the Florida Panthers absolutely walked the walk when it comes to going all in and building their roster. I mean, they are completely stacked. I'm just happy that they're in the Eastern Conference and the Preds don't have to play them.
Absolutely. Yeah, that'd be ugly. We already got to contend with Colorado. Possibly,
Panthers forward Anthony Duclair said this about the team's trade deadline moves. You don't hear players say this often about front office moves. Normally players stay out of all this. But Anthony Duclair of the Panthers said, quote, "It sends a clear message that we're all in and we're really excited moving forward, for sure." So they're in. They're all in. They're ready. Claude Giroux, I mean, we got to face the Flyers the other day, and they did the big ceremony for him for his 1,000th NHL game. And it was emotional for them to see a player like that get traded away. He knew it was his last game in a Flyers uniform, most likely. And the Flyers played inspired hockey, and they ended up beating the Predators.
Yep, they did. It was tough to watch, that's for sure, because the Predators were actually had a chance to win at one point and just imploded.
I would call the Panthers and the Minnesota Wild for sure two winners of the trade deadline. I would also, you're gonna laugh at this, but I actually mean this. I would actually throw the Seattle Kraken in as winners at the trade deadline.
Because
they realize they're building for the future. At the very least, they realize their place in this whole game. They are the more prototypical, normal expansion team. The Vegas Golden Knights were not – they were an exception to the rule. Most expansion teams have to take the long road to success. And so I actually think the Seattle Kraken had a really, really good trade deadline day. They stocked up draft picks. They piled up draft picks. They're not interested in this season. They know that this season's over with, and they maximized it with what they had. and got, I mean, hell, they got a second-round pick from the Preds for a player that wasn't working for them. So I'll give the Seattle Kraken. I'll go ahead and call them a winner today.
I think so too. Yeah, I mean, like you said, they're definitely looking to the future. The expansion draft didn't quite work out for them as well as they thought, and now they're moving forward. I mean, that's all they can do. So, yeah, they'll be fine on the road.
Let me give you a loser for a trade deadline.
Right.
I'm not going to say the Preds. I'm actually not going to say the Preds.
No,
I think the Toronto Maple Leafs were losers in the trade deadline. They got Mark Giordano. I don't think that makes them any better than some of these other teams who made moves in the Eastern Conference. You look at the Eastern Conference, we just brought up the Florida Panthers. I think the Boston Bruins got a lot better today. They re-signed Jake DeBrusk. They stuck to their guns and held on to him. So I think they got better. The Carolina Hurricanes are still out there as a great team. I just don't. Tampa Bay Lightning are still the defending back-to-back champs. I don't know that the Toronto Maple Leafs did enough to not be anything more than another first-round playoff exit.
Yeah, you're absolutely true. I don't think they didn't really move the needle any. That's for sure.
I mean, I like Mark Giordano. I think he's a decent player. I just don't know if that's really, if you're a team like the Toronto Maple Leafs, I don't really know that that's really enough for them to be Stanley Cup contenders like they want to be.
Probably not. I would agree. You brought up Carolina. I think they got Max Domi, actually.
They did.
So that's going to help them out a little bit. And then
they were very quiet. The Hurricanes were very quiet until the very end.
Yeah, and then Boston, like you said, got DeBrusk, and they also got Lindholm from Anaheim.
Yes, from the Ducks. That was another good move. So that's what I'm saying. So a lot of teams around the Maple Leafs, the teams in the Eastern Conference they're going to be competing with, got much better, where I don't feel like the Maple Leafs got any better, really.
Our man Justin coming through for us.
There you go. Bang from Justin Gambino, and we're seeing the goal right now. They're really getting in on the pucks, loose pucks in front of the net. They're looking for rebounds, and Ryan Johansson scoops up the dirty laundry.
He sure did. Ryan Johansson's probably got like your picture after what you said about him. He's like, I'll show at Chad.
That's totally what's happening, Rich. That's totally what his motivation is right now. Rich, are you a Rocky fan? Did you ever watch the Rocky movies?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Definitely.
So you remember in Rocky 4 where Sylvester Stallone has Drago picture on his mirror and he crumples it. He like reaches. So Ryan Johansson has my picture, goofy picture on his mirror, and he looks up at it and he rips it down. He's like, I'll show him.
That's right. He's talking to his bulldog, and he's like, we're going to show him who's boss.
We're going to show that dumb catfish on ice host.
Catfish on ice guy.
I wish I had that much influence.
I know, right?
But yeah, amazing. Ryan Johansson has really played well lately. I can't take anything away from him. That was a really good team goal, though, by the Preds there. They really came in on Gibson to where Gibson couldn't really go anywhere. He made the initial save, but you got that rebound. And Johansson's always known how to score those types of goals. Like Johansson loves to get in deep there and score those rebound goals. So Preds are up 2-1. Our predictions are looking good right now.
Oh, that was a power play goal. And apparently, since they drew blood on Cousins, it's a major.
Well, we'll take it.
Yeah,
that's what we like to say, right?
Or another one. Get that up to 4-2, like I said.
Let's look at some other trades that happened today. So, of course, Mark Giordano and Colin Blackwell, old school Preds player Colin Blackwell, is also part of that trade to the Maple Leafs. Of course, Jake DeBrusk. It was always talked about that Jake DeBrusk would possibly get traded. Rich, you kind of called this. You were kind of talking about how you were starting to think that it looked like the Bruins would probably hold on to DeBrusk, and that ends up being what happened.
Yeah. I think I read on Twitter today that he still wants to be traded, but they signed him so that they could. I don't know. I didn't really understand why they did it, but so that the contract can be moved easier or something. I'm not sure, but
I would tend to call it that the Bruins are sticking to their guns, that they want to be a Stanley Cup team, and they know that Jake DeBrusk is more value to them being on this team now than trading him away. So even if he's not happy, he doesn't want to be there, the front office is like, look, we're keeping you either way.
Yeah,
for now.
Absolutely. And it's I think Boston's kind of in the same boat as the Predators. They don't want to upset the apple cart too much. They got a defenseman, a good defenseman, which is always good for them. But I think he might get moved eventually down the road. But I think
it's
a good thing to hold on to him for a little bit longer.
Yep. And then of course, Rickard Rakell goes to the Penguins. That kind of was a little bit of a surprising move there. For me, anyway. I know he was on the trade market there. Rakell was, but he was even someone that I thought would be a decent player to look at for the Preds, honestly, if you're looking to add that depth scoring. But the Penguins end up adding a guy who's definitely going to make them better for the short term. You're talking about a Pittsburgh Penguins team that just keeps sticking around. They just won't go away.
How much longer? How much longer?
I don't know.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Every time I think they're going to go through a rebuild, they stick around. So
how do you know how old Sidney Crosby is? Is he like 35, 36?
He's got to be up there. I don't know his exact age. I'd have to.
I don't know.
And amazing. Then some surprising stick arounds too, including Jacob Chicarin ends up staying with the Coyotes. Their asking price was enormous.
Was it?
I mean,
did I see that they wanted
three
first-round picks?
3 first-round picks, a prospect, and a starter. It was like
insane.
It was like a 5-piece package they were looking for.
That is insane.
For a very talented defenseman, but also a defenseman that doesn't have a long proven track record.
I don't understand that at all.
Then they end up keeping Phil Kessel as well.
I saw that too.
Did you see what his girlfriend, or is it his wife or his girlfriend? I'm guessing it's actually his wife.
I think it's his wife. They just had a kid.
Did you see that?
Mm-mm.
Amanda Kessel. Amanda Kessel, who is an Olympic gold medalist. I didn't even know about this, but she's an Olympic gold medalist, 3-time national champion.
That's his sister.
Oh, is that his sister? Oh,
that's his sister. Yeah, I remember seeing that in the Olympics.
Either way.
Anyway, go ahead.
She tweeted out, where is it at here?
Amanda.
It says, doesn't look like number 81 is being moved. # missing out.
Oh, wow.
Did you not see that?
I did not see that. That's crazy, though.
My apologies for thinking that was his girlfriend or wife, but his sister either way. I thought that was really funny and interesting.
It is very interesting. I read somewhere in the numerous Twitter things that happened today that people were moving away from him a little bit because of how much cap hit it was going to be or something.
Okay.
Like, apparently his cap hit's huge. So, I don't know. Maybe it might have something to do with it.
You would definitely be adding him thinking that you're getting a playoff boost, basically.
Yep. Here's our friend, the Stupid Seal. I love that name. It's so funny. Pittsburgh is like, the Penguins don't rebuild, we reload.
Yeah. I can't, as much as I don't like to say it, I have to agree with that.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So we saw a lot of your major teams make moves today that is going to definitely make the NHL playoffs very interesting. You saw a lot of the really good teams that were already really good going into the trade deadline. They made themselves better. So that's kind of another reason why. That's another reason why the Predators fans are probably a little upset, because they feel like the Predators didn't do anything to get better, while a lot of teams around them got better. So
just the onslaught of Preds Twitter today was just. It had started last night, actually. It started actually yesterday. Everybody was like, countdown, one day, what's going to happen? And it just all the way up till 3:00. It just kept going and going.
For sure. All right, so this is episode 115 of Catfish on Ice. This is Chad Minton and Rich Howe, your host, as we continue to do this NHL trade deadline reaction episode while we also watch the Preds take on the Anaheim Ducks. The Preds are up 2-1 right now as we're 13 minutes left in the second period. Shots are 19-11 in favor of the Preds. They've really kind of taken control of this game after giving up the first goal of the game. All right, let's talk about our sponsor, DraftKings. DraftKings is our official sponsor, and we absolutely love DraftKings. You should too. You should go get the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now, the official sports betting partner of the NHL. We have a really good offer for you right now if you use our promo code THPN. All you got to do is download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use promo code THPN, bet just $1 on any NHL team, and get $150 in free bets if they win. That's promo code THPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. 21 and up, restrictions apply. Please see our show notes for details if you have a gambling problem to look up responsible gambling practices. The NHL has seen plenty of packed, dirty dangles, hat tricks, and big wins. It makes you laugh every time, Rich.
It does. It's so funny.
As the action rolls on, DraftKings Sportsbook is really bringing it for you here. We're making it a lot of fun here. And if the Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, you still have a shot to light the lamp. Enjoy some huge cash prizes with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Hockey Contest. And all new customers are getting a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. That's all you got to do. So, again, DraftKings, our sponsor, promo code THPN for all the fun and all the action and all the winnings.
Yep. My state, I cannot use it. I can do the fantasy, obviously, but I can't do the other one. But I did see in the news the other day. What happened?
No, I was going to say what's in the news.
Oh, okay. Kentucky is looking at I thought you were getting ready to say they scored a goal or something.
No, they didn't. They didn't score.
Kentucky is running some kind of sports betting bill through their government, through so maybe they're going to.
It's only a matter of time.
Meanwhile,
Rich, what's going on with your fantasy hockey team? Zachary LaRue flips off another who?
Bad.
Are you firing all of them right now?
Good.
Are you shipping them all off?
It's not good. It's not good at all. I went a day or two and didn't do anything, and it was just bad.
It's okay.
Bad.
Still plenty of time left. All right. So, Speaking of that, let's get to our cold, hard picks for this week, Rich.
Cold,
and you think you're in a world of hurt with your fantasy hockey team. I'm in a world of hurt on my cold, hard picks from the first week we ever did this. Why don't you go ahead and refresh everyone what our picks were last week, and then we'll go ahead and share.
Yeah, let me get it. Go ahead and talk while I look for it real quick.
Well, yeah, he's gonna pull up our picks from last week. I went 0-3. Rich went 2-1 with his picks. Mm-hmm. So every week, every Monday for the rest of the season, we're going to do our Catfish on Ice cold, hard picks. We're going to pick 3 NHL games during the week, who we think is going to win, and we will track how we do between myself and Rich. And I went 0-3 on my first week.
You did. So you had Stars over the Leafs, which did not happen.
That did not work out for me.
Golden Knights over the Jets did not happen.
That was bad. That was a bad pick.
And the Bruins over the Wild did not happen.
At least I picked tough games to pick, though.
You did, because one of mine was not. So
softball.
It was a softball. I picked Stars over the Leafs as well. That did not happen. But then I picked the Jets over the Golden Knights, and they did prevail. And then the softball was the Coyotes over the Canadiens, and that happened. That did happen. Yeah. That was pretty kind of weak.
All right, here's my redemption for this week. And we're picking Tuesday and Wednesday night games. So we record on Mondays. If you're not watching live, we record every episode. We record our episodes on Mondays and Thursdays. So we're picking between the Tuesday and Wednesday games of that week's NHL games. So here's my picks for this week. I need some redemption, Rich. Like, I need to go 3 for 3 this week to really feel better about myself. All right, here's my picks. I've got the Hurricanes over the Tampa Bay Lightning, and that's a heavyweight matchup. So I'm really going out on a limb to pick this game to begin with. But I do think that the Hurricanes are a superior team to Tampa Bay. 7-game series, I'm taking the Hurricanes to win that series in 6 games. I do think that the Tampa Bay Lightning, they're still a great quality team. I do not think they're going to three-peat. I do not think it's going to happen. I don't think they're nearly as stacked as they've been in the past 2 seasons. So I got the Canes over the Lightning. That's my first pick this week.
All right.
My second pick, I'm going the Coyote. All right, we're gonna call this your scalper's night off, Rich, that you like to call.
That's it. Coyotes, I know what it is.
Coyotes over the Seattle Kraken.
Wow. So you're gonna so the Coyotes can beat the hot dog vendor, the Zamboni driver, and Yanni Gourde. Awesome.
Yeah. Yanni Gourde might try to carry them by himself, but yeah. No, Philip Grubauer is who is statistically the worst goal. Philip Grubauer, who is statistically the worst goaltender in the league this year, analytically speaking, he's going to be a net for them. So, I got the Coyotes, who are just wrecking everybody right now. They're putting up like 5 or 6 goals a game right now. So I got the Coyotes beating the Kraken. My third cold hard pick of the week is I got the Philadelphia Flyers beating the New York Islanders.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I feel like the Flyers are playing a little bit better lately. They're not playoff team, but they could be I think the Flyers could be really good spoilers.
They just played over the weekend. Those 2 same teams.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, they play again.
That's awesome. All right, so mine, I picked the Capitals over the Blues because I don't like the Blues and I like the Capitals. No, I don't know. I just picked them. So the second one is Stars over the Oilers, and that's big because the Stars need to win some games because they're behind. They're not even in a wild card spot right now. So I think they're going to turn the Jets up a little bit. They can beat the Oilers. The other one is Golden Knights over the Jets because the Golden Knights are sitting in the second wild card spot, and they are going to fight really hard to stay in that spot.
If the Golden Knights miss the playoffs, you want to talk about a massive disappointment. All right, so I misspoke. Huge. You're right, Rich. You're right. I got the Flyers beating the Red Wings. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Not the Islanders. They just played the Islanders. I'm sorry. I still think my point stands, though. I think the Flyers are playing spoilers. I think they're a much better team down the stretch. They're a team that I think can beat some good teams down the stretch. They play on Tuesday night, March 22nd, tomorrow night. I got the Flyers beating the Red Wings.
I don't like this. I don't like this at all.
That's a not bang. That's a not bang from the Steel. Whoa, what happened there?
Oh, their mascot is so cringy. Saros got beat. Let's see what happened.
He got beat, but I mean,
I'm trying to see. Yeah.
That's too easy, though. That's like Troy Terry. Troy Terry is a good player.
Oh, wow.
That's Terry's 30th goal of the season, by the way. He's a nice young player for them.
Look at that angle. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean that's a really tough shot to stop for Saros there, for any goaltender. That's like Forsberg stuff right there.
For sure. Here's a stupid Seals pick. Seattle versus Arizona. Arizona wins. Edmonton, Dallas wins. Minnesota, Vancouver.
Vancouver wins. Wow, he's taking that's going out there.
That is.
Vancouver over Minnesota. That's a bold pick. I respect that.
Yep.
I respect that. All right, so I got to get off the schneid. I went 0 for 3 my first week. I got to get some wins here. I feel pretty good about my picks. All right, so the Preds and the Ducks are tied 2-2 now. And now I just need my prediction to come true. 3-2 in overtime. Preds win. That's my prediction. Rich, your prediction of 4-2 could still happen as well.
Could still. Yeah, we'll see.
Let's see what happens here. It's
We'll
been a very back and forth game, though. I mean, shots are even 19-19 now. The Preds opened up really sloppy, but then they took control. But now the Ducks are starting to take back momentum again. It's just a seesaw type of game right now.
But now they're sloppy again. Yeah, it's not.
You're seeing a lot of counterattacks, though. The Preds are counterattacking right now. There's a lot of back and forth, flipping the ice type of action right now, which is entertaining for the hockey fan to watch, but also nerve-wracking.
Very much so. Flyers versus Predators flashbacks.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't want any of that.
All right, let's do our clutch performers of the week, Rich.
Yes, let's.
We're going back and we're looking at last week's games. We're looking back at the Flyers game. We're looking back at the Penguins win. We're looking back at the win over Toronto as well. Overall, a decent week, even though they did lose to Philadelphia in a heartbreaker 5-4 in a game that you felt like the Preds should have won. But they still beat Pittsburgh and Toronto in the same week. Plenty of scoring. The Preds scored 14 goals in their 3 games this past week.
Yep. They did.
All right. Rich, do you how about you start us off with your clutch performers of the week? Go 3-2-1 with your picks.
Number 3, Tanner Geno. 3 goals in the last 3 games. Secondary scoring is good. That's what they needed. So we will take that.
He is still remaining in that Calder Trophy race.
Absolutely.
I don't think he's going to win it. We've said it all season. We don't think he'll actually win it, but he's at least remaining in the conversation.
Absolutely. Number 2, Filip Forsberg. 2 goals and 2 assists in his last 3 games. Broke the record. Looking good still. Obviously awesome. Keep it up. Want him to continue that.
He broke David Legwand's franchise record for goals.
David Legwand is sad. Wherever David Legwand is right now.
David Legwand was like, no, I think David Legwand's sitting somewhere thinking, it took y'all that long to break that record?
Exactly. He's like, I played there forever. Give me a break.
All right.
It took forever. So number 1 is Roman Josi. 9 points in his last 3 games. First star of the week. I got this off.
Yep.
In the NHL. I got this off the Predators. I had a tweet this morning. Now has 3+ points in 4 consecutive outings, a feat achieved by only one other defenseman in NHL history.
Whoa. That's crazy, man.
6 games back in 1970-71.
These stats and these records and these milestones that Roman Josi keeps setting every night are just every game. Yeah. And he's got a goal tonight already. Yeah. So he just keeps on. I mean, they're really going to have to do everything they can to not give him the Norris Trophy.
Oh, I know. It's insane that he's not getting more traction. I think he will start now, but it just doesn't make any sense.
All right. So, Rich, we have the same 3 clutch performers, but not in the same order.
Oh, okay.
And hear me out. First of all, I also have Tanner Geno at number 3.
Yep.
Let me give you his stats for the week. He had 3 goals, a goal in each game this past week. Big-time goals. He racked up 17 hits this week. 7 shots on goal, and also put up another 7 block shots. The guy does a little bit of everything.
He sure does.
So he comes in at number 3 for me. I realize what Roman Josi did, but the reason why Forsberg is my number 1 clutch performer is because we are calling this clutch. And I know Roman Josi is also clutch. That's why he's number 2. I'm putting Forsberg at number 1 because despite all of the outside noise, despite all of the reasons for him to maybe not bring it 100%, maybe he gets distracted by all this. Maybe He's just not feeling it. But all I see from Forsberg is he just keeps ramping it up to another level every game.
Absolutely.
And no matter what, he went into this past week not knowing what his fate would be. He could possibly get traded. He could possibly get re-signed to a long term. He didn't really know. So the fact that he's blocking out all the outside noise and he's still doing what he's doing on the ice, that puts him at number one for me this week over Roman Josi. But it's really splitting hairs.
It's hard.
They could both be number one. But I really had to think about it. That's the only reason I put Filip Forsberg ahead of Roman Josi slightly on my clutch performers this week.
That makes sense.
I got to throw. All right, Stupid Seal has on YouTube comments with his 3 performers. Number 3 is Tanner Geno for him. Number 2 is UC Saros. Number 1, come on, like really? Josi. I say Saros just because of his play. He stood on his head versus Pittsburgh and Toronto. And you.
Yep.
All right. Good list there.
Yep, definitely.
All right. I also have Colton Sissons as honorable mention this week. I couldn't put him in the top, but Colton Sissons had a really good week for the Preds. He put up 5 assists this week, 5 shots on goal, 7 hits. He's starting to really get in on the scoring with the depth. And what have we always said about Colton Sissons? He's the captain of the bottom 6.
Absolutely. Yeah, he definitely fills that role for sure. I was always sad that they lost Calle Yarncroc, and I know that you wanted to keep Sissons, obviously, but I'm starting to come around that definitely that was the better choice. So
yeah,
Sissons.
It was tough. It was tough either way to see it happen, but all right. So shocker of the century, but it looks like Mark Barviewski is going to the penalty box. Yeah, you can't do that. I know he's playing hard. But you can't just ride a guy into the boards like that. That's actually a really dangerous hit.
He's still jawing about it.
You see what I'm talking about there?
I haven't seen it yet. Let's see.
Oh, it's kind of a danger. It's a borderline dangerous hit.
Yeah.
I mean,
the guy was kind of bending down a little bit.
He drove that guy head first into the boards. I mean, that's going to get called every time. I know that's just how Burrow plays, though. I mean, that's his style. You can't ask him to change.
Thank goodness the guy's not bleeding.
And I mean, all you hear about is, well, once you get in the playoffs, the refs swallow the whistle a little bit more. So a player like Mark Barviewski is going to be beneficial to you in the playoffs because they let a lot more go. They let a lot more slide. But I mean,
they put there's a Ducks player in the box as well.
Yeah. All I'm saying is as much value as Mark Barviewski brings, he's also can be a liability.
Absolutely. 100% can be.
So you have to take the good with the bad when it comes to Mark Barviewski. That's kind of like all I'm saying there.
John Hines doesn't look very happy about it either. I don't blame him.
John Hines never looks happy. He has that same look on his face all the time.
He does. I did watch the little press conference after they lost to Philadelphia, and you could tell how aggravated he was because he was giving like really short answers. He was like, ooh.
So Anaheim gets a power play out of this when it's all said and done. So the Preds have another penalty to kill.
All right.
So that's our clutch performers of the week as we roll through episode 115 here. We're going to get ready to let you go here and get you to our interview with Boyd Farish of Penalty Box Radio. We will continue to follow this game on our social media at Catfish Ice on Twitter. Follow along with us. Also, if you would like, go check out our interview with Boyd, the full interview on our YouTube channel, or if you've downloaded the podcast the next day and you're listening, then all you got to do is keep playing the episode right now. And we've got an interview with Boyd coming up of Penalty Box Radio. Really awesome conversation with him.
Yep,
He's been a friend of the podcast for a long time. We talked about the NHL trade deadline moves and his thoughts. We talked about Filip Forsberg and the overall long-term vision that we feel like this team has.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a good interview. He's a cool guy.
He's a very good guy. I got a chance to meet him. At a recent Preds game when the Preds played the Stars a couple weeks ago. And he's just a really solid guy, and he knows his hockey. So stay tuned for that. Or, again, you can watch the full interview on our YouTube channel. It's already up right now if you want to go watch it. All right, Rich, how are you feeling about this game? What do you think the Preds got to do to secure this win as we wrap up episode 115?
Well, they need to get Barviewski to keep his cool a little longer, stay out of the penalty box, obviously, and just I don't know. They look a little flat in some spots. Just kind of get the energy back up, I guess. Don't want to be giving up 2 points to this team. That's for sure. That is for sure.
Yeah, you can't be leaving points on the board against a team like the Ducks. You gotta, if you really want to stay in this playoff race and keep building a cushion, because the Preds are building a cushion in the standings right now. When it comes to the wild card, at least they're starting to get a little bit of distance between them and the outside of the playoff race, so that's good. But you can't leave points on the table in games like this. So we're coming up on the end of the second period. We will give you full analysis of this game on Thursday's episode 116 later this week. We will also keep following this game on our social media at Catfish Ice. So go follow along with us there. We really appreciate you joining us for the live stream as we watch this game and talk about the trade deadline. Stay tuned for our interview with Boyd. Until then, everyone have a great week. Thank you for joining. We will see you on Thursday for a brand new episode of Catfish on Ice.